Hello, I'm Robin Henning, and welcome to another Exchange Life Nugget of Truth. As we continue our look at good versus evil, did you ever wonder why Adam and Eve were not allowed to eat of that particular tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Well, it's very simple. God never intended for us to experience evil, and in order to have the capacity to choose between good versus evil, we'd have to know both. And He never intended for us to experience anything but good. And obedience, folks, obedience is the evidence of a loving relationship. As long as Adam and Eve rested in God's love for them, they obeyed Him and refrained from eating the forbidden fruit. They didn't struggle with the question of, what do I feel like eating? Or what would taste good? Folks, it was all good. As they rested in God's love for them, they allowed the Holy Spirit to establish their thoughts, and this led them to make healthy choices and feel healthy emotions. They weren't driven along by anxiety or fear or I need to feel good. Why? Because they always felt good, and they were always led by the Spirit. So as they depended on God, He showed them what was good for them. Life was centered on God, not on themselves. I can't wrap my brain around how wonderful their experience of life must have been. When they made decisions, they were operating at 100% capacity in resting in God's love and acceptance of them. And because God's presence and His fullness was always upon them, their souls were completely satisfied. They never experienced lust. Lust wasn't an issue. Why? Because they were always satisfied. They were never dissatisfied. They were never looking to anything other than God to meet their needs. And because they both found life in God, they could reinforce life for each other by showing each other love and acceptance. It was truly a beautiful existence. It was all good. I've talked before about Satan's strategies that he used in the garden against Eve. He's still very good at using the same strategies in our lives. But to sum it up, he undermined her trust in God's love and in His goodness. He convinced her to decide what was good instead of resting in the leading of the Holy Spirit. She looked at the tree. How could this be evil? God made it, right? So it has to be good. The fruit looks good, and knowing good from evil would make me like God, she was thinking, right? So how could that not be good? Folks, where was the battle lost? Right when she stopped trusting in God's love and goodness. Living in God's love means that we trust Him always to lead us into what's good for us. But in our flesh, how do we go about deciding what's good for us? And it's usually by what lust-filled craving is screaming the loudest. This will make me feel better. All these are the lies of lust. The carbs will make me feel better. Sleeping in will make me feel better. All kinds of sexual stuff to choose from. That'll make me feel better. No. None of it. None of the lusts of the flesh. If I go on a shopping spree, buy more stuff. No, that will not make me feel better. Beloved, here's good news. God has made a way for us to be reconciled to Him, so that after we're reconnected to His life, and it's flowing in us and through us, we can know His goodness, and He will lead us into choosing what is good for us as we trust Him. We're going to talk more about that in the weeks ahead. So I would encourage you to seek Him, to rest in Him, to rest in His love, to put off your self-reliance. Put on the mind of Christ. He is always going to show you what's good for you when you do that. I hope you'll think about that this week, and I hope you have a blessed week in Jesus.